This episode of Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is brought to you by the awesome people over at Apex Entertainment. Apex, located in Marlboro, is located right off Route 495 on Route 20. It's 100,000 square feet of pure fun for all ages. There's always perfect weather at Apex Entertainment, and it's an ideal location for a birthday party, corporate outing, or special event. Or, you know what? Just to go and have some fun. Attractions include 30 bowling lanes, multi-level indoor go-kart track, laser tag, bumper cars, rope course, and arcade. Go check out apexentertainment.com. Razor and I thanks Apex Entertainment for all of their support. All right, well, this sit-down meet and greet with one Andrew Raycroft has a little different vibe to begin than the other one did the other night as the Bruins beat the Washington Capitals 4-3 on a late goal, 45 seconds left in regulation by Charlie McAvoy over the Washington Capitals. This coming off the, what was it, 17-0? I don't remember. What was it against Carolina? 7-1? 7-1 shellacking. Felt like 17-0 the other night. So by no means was this a must-win game, Razor, as we welcome you into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. But it sure felt like a win would be nice and kind of important. Not just a nice performance, but a win. Because at times in this game, I thought overall the Bruins were the better team, and I would have been bummed if they got the loss in this one. I thought they earned the W. They did. We're going to get to all of it here. But welcome you in, and I thought it was a nice win for the team tonight.
Yeah, it was. It was just important to play well, I think, tonight. If they had a lost on a couple iffy defensive plays, but dominated shot wise, they would have they were just wanting to have a good solid game, and they did that, and to get the 2 points at the end, and even steal one away from Washington essentially with 45 seconds left, take that out of their pocket, and now you're breathing right down their neck, right down Toronto's neck, and all of a sudden it's an interesting second half of the season for playoff jockeying.
Yeah, it sure is. Some big performances in this game. We got a lot to get to. We're going to fly through it here after the game was on the Ocho tonight. That was interesting at times. A little bit better production than it has been in the past, but I digress. Posture was great. Couple of goals in this game. Patrice was his regular Patrice-ness, doing things all over the ice. Some you notice, some you don't. Charlie comes through in the end. But I want to talk about Linus. I want to get right to your forte, my man. The big guy. Only 17 shots faced, gave up 3 goals. The third one, good snipe. The second one, okay. No, when I mean okay, we got to talk about that one. But let's start with the first one. Let's start with that angle shot by Kuznetsov where the goalie's down. Are you letting him off the hook on that one? Brian Boucher on the air said that he didn't blame him that much for the first one, but the second one he should have had. Let's start with the first one. Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, that's a goal that goes in every night in the NHL.
Which
you're
one?
playing
The
a
first one?
percentage. The first one, yeah, it
Really?
goes in every night on somewhere in the NHL. You see it. You're
You
playing.
lose me every time on this one. This is the non-goalie in me. I get it, and you're going to explain it, and because I trust you, I'm going to nod in agreement, but I still want my goalie to stop that one. If only just to not see Kuznetsov do the bird dance.
Oh, I love the bird. I do love the bird. I shouldn't, but I do. No, listen, it's a percentage play. You're playing the percentages. 9 times out of 10, that gets ripped over the net, and no one ever thinks of it and notices. It Yes, Ullmark gets stuck in it. It went in, so you can nitpick it and you can explain why it went in. He should have held his feet a little bit longer. He could have been a little more patient. But at the end of the day, that's what these guys are playing, the percentages, and they're going to continue to make the RVH. It's just what they do. They get in the post there, and you'll see him a lot of times move his head. That time he didn't pick up the puck. A lot of times when I'm watching him go in there, he gets that head over to the side, which covers up that short side post a little bit better. He didn't do that, so he didn't react to the shot, which is
Uh-huh.
the sin of the play and why the puck went in. Um, but it does go in a lot. You'd be shocked. Watch it.
I know it goes in. Hold on, we have a special guest here on Morning Brew with Jaffe
Oh,
Razor.
nice.
We have a special guest, and it's Super Cooper, but it's also one young Jake Jaffe who, do you need me? I'm actually doing the show right now, Jake. Do you need me that bad? No? Cooper, come here.
Jakey
No,
boy,
no.
get to
All right.
bed.
Get to bed, man. Get to bed. He's
Get to
got hair
bed.
like Fabio right now. He hasn't cut it in forever. You can't keep him in here. Go. I'm literally on the air right now. Take your dog. All right. Sorry, folks, for that. That's the beauty of podcasting out of your home office, especially while you've been home. And
When it's not at 2:30 in the morning.
exactly, exactly. Um, and since my kid has had COVID, he can come hang with me, right? And this because I'm getting over. As you can tell, I sound like shit right now. All right, I'll buy it. I still don't love it, bud. It's an optics thing. It's an
It
optics
is.
thing. All right. The good news is this: the Bruins, who have been getting scored against an awful lot after they score, they turn around and get back at it. Pastrnak with the goal, a beautiful pass. Haula and Hall on the assist, and Pasta going to the front of the net and little slit pass through two defensemen. I didn't think it was great defense, mind you, by the Washington Capitals, who, by the way, were without their top defensemen, Carlson and Orlov, and that's part of the shitstorm that is the NHL right now. We will talk about how the Bruins lost their top player and another important player, and Anton Blidh. We'll touch on that in just a couple of minutes. But the Bruins tie it up, and I think that this is an important goal in the game. We cannot look past this because it didn't allow the Caps to feel good about themselves. The Caps team that wanted to come in and revenge, you talked about this on the last Morning Brew. They're going to come in. You mentioned, what are they going to do after that 7-3 shellacking that they took to the Bruins, about 8-10 days ago? And I think if the Bruins didn't score right away, I can't predict the game, but I'm telling you, it's a lot easier when you do respond right away and you take away that feel good of the visiting team coming into your building.
And on top of it, is after that 7-1 loss. You don't want to fall behind 3-1 in the next game because then you really start feeling sorry for yourself and feeling
Yep.
bad about yourself. So yes, on a few different levels, that goal was big to come right away, change the momentum, give yourself some positive vibes.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. You can't get down like that again. The crowd might turn quickly if you all of a sudden you're
Yeah,
down 2-1 or something.
that too.
So Pastrnak looked like he was in charge in this game. Gets the second goal of the game too, in the second period, 8:37, and on a nice stretch pass from Matt Grzelcyk. Pastrnak with the wherewithal, the strength, and the smarts to stop, not to just do one shot and coast by. He stops, he power stops in front, puts it past the pad, or I guess you'd say under the pad of Vitek Vanacek. Razor, are you like me, man, though? Are you just not convinced about the Caps goaltending when it's all said and done come playoff time?
No, not even. It's just exactly like last year. They're the exact same spot last year. And if you remember, Craig Anderson was an
Yeah.
option for them in the playoffs last year, which is why the Bruins smoked them in 5 games. And they're in the exact same spot this year. So I would be licking my chops to play that team in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs with the goaltending comprised as it is now. And I'm just to build on that, Pasternak. He wasn't stopping on that play. He wasn't making. He was dumping that into the goalie's pads
Yep.
a few weeks ago
Yep.
on that
Yep.
breakaway. He was determined, and that's. I think that's forever. We've talked about it, getting him, and it wasn't that he wasn't into it. It wasn't. He was still skating at times, but that play there is exactly what we were talking about.
Right. That's a hunger. That's when and
Yes.
that is a hunger play when you know if you stop, it's a feeling you get inside. If anybody's played at a good level, and I'm not talking NHL, I'm talking just a good level where they're in the go, right? They're in that mood, I should say, or that groove. There's a vibe you get when you know you're going to score. You feel like, if you do the right thing. And it's definitely, I couldn't agree with you more, but it's not that Pasternak didn't want to score before. It's not that he didn't think he could score. He just didn't feel that he was going to. Now he feels like he's going to. And that's crazy. That's awesome because that puts him at a different level. He stops, he hammers it in on the second one. It's 2-1. All right, now let's talk about the Eller goal. The goal that, again, I understand that mistakes happen, but Ullmark, I'm not picking on him. I've been happy with him. I really have been. But this felt to me like the goal, like, oh no, Linus, this can't happen here. Like, as important as that
Yeah.
Pastrnak first goal was, that goal to me sent a little shiver down my broadcaster's spine.
Well, I think yes, it could. It could. And I think we've seen I want to just so one is the Bruins, this team. Tuukka's done this before. All the goalies have done this for the Bruins, and they're always able to fight through. Tim Thomas did this, if you want to go
Okay.
all the way back. He gave up bad goals. He gave up bad goals because he was all over the place. And this group doesn't phase them. And these
No.
goalies, and I'm going to include Linus in this, is that he gives up goals that look horrible. He gives up goals that, but he's 9-2. He wins.
Yeah.
He ends up having his numbers are low, but he's gonna end up 915, 920. This happened in Buffalo the last few
Yep.
years, and this is
Yep.
what we've talked about. It looks different. It looks different, but he finds ways. He hangs in there. He makes that one save. He would have won a shootout tonight or something if it had gone that far. He does find a way, and he's continuing to do that. So yes, I understand we want to criticize it, but at the end of the day, the wins are the wins, and it's consistent in his career that he finds a way to do it through these goals that go under him or weird or it doesn't look like he's moving well.
Yeah. I guess what it ends up coming down to is that goalies that aren't traditionally pretty, smooth, efficient, calm, I guess it takes, well, we all want winning cures all, right? But especially those
Mhm.
guys that aren't as traditional. I mean, it's like, Hasek, he was amazing, right? And I'm not comparing Linus Ullmark to Hasek. I'm just making the point here. And
No.
people didn't believe that Hasek was as good as he was until he finally won the cup. Like, I mean, I know he was an all-world goalie, but dot dot dot. Then he wins it,
Yeah.
and he's just like the end all be all. And arguably, you could say, I know Brodeur and Patrick Waugh, the numbers, Roberto Luongo too, but there are many people that say that Dominic Hasek, the greatest goaltender of all time, albeit the most unique, definitely of all, or one
Well,
of the
no,
most
he's the most
unique.
dominant over a 4-year period.
Yeah,
That's indisputable. I mean, he won 2 Hart trophies. Crazy,
yeah,
nuts, wild. I'll even bring it even a little more is a Robin Leonard type. That's a really nowadays comparison to Linus Ullmark. If you
right,
watch Leonard, he gives up a bad goal every time, or a
yeah,
goal that is like, what in the world is he
yeah.
doing? But he gets his big body in the way of a bunch of pucks, and his teams find a way to win 4-3.
All right. Interesting question here. Maybe not fair, but I'm not being mean. Who would you rather have, Robin Leonard or Linus Olmark? Would you be able to delineate with them? Neither have won the big,
I,
the big thing. Mhm.
Yeah, I would either one of them. I don't see any. I don't think I probably would take Allmark, to be honest. Robin Leonard um, has been on better teams than Linus Allmark up until this point. Um, won basically the same amount. You look at Leonard in the playoff series last year; he wasn't that good. At least
Right.
Allmark hasn't been in the playoffs. We don't know. So I'd probably take Allmark.
Yeah. Interesting. It's a good comparison, though. And again, I'm not comparing Olmark to Hasek. Hasek, though, for a
No, we were
while in his
talking
career
about styles. We were talking and how
was
long it
so
took people to
embrace
embrace
him.
it because it was
Yes.
so weird and people didn't wanna think that he was good, he was just lucky. That's
Right.
what you were yeah,
I'm
I'm
saying,
with
yeah,
you.
and I'm saying Olmark is not fluid. He is not. He doesn't instill enormous calmness, at least in me. Maybe that's what I
Mhm,
need to learn more of. I don't know, but
yeah.
anyway, all right. So it's 2-2. You're saying that the glove goes up, it hits off the top of it, and it goes in, and not that it's okay that shit happens. I mean, he just needs to catch that one. I guess,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
he needs to make that save, and you can say he needs to make the first save. My point is that it's not over, and
right,
these do go in at times. They really do, and if you win, then they go away much quicker. Everyone forgets about them.
right. Okay. So speaking of winning time in the third period, DeBrusk gets a goal halfway through the period. And then about 20 seconds, or maybe what is it, 40 seconds later, Nick
Oh.
Backstrom ties it up. DeBrusk's goal, not debatable, just didn't see if that it crossed the line right away. Again, good for Jake. I mean, they played Jake tonight. A lot of people thought, and I wondered too, Razor, if they'd maybe take him out, keep Steen in.
Mhm.
Leads you to
Yeah.
believe that maybe there's somebody who wanted to see him play again for a trade.
Yeah.
Perhaps. I would think so with Foligno coming back, meaning, that's the reason I think that they would put him in. So he gets the goal, and he was involved. What were Jake's numbers on the night? Hold on one second, real quick, and I'll pull.
Kuznetsov did bury that pretty well, huh? The old backhand 5-hole.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So here, DeBrusk just bringing up a goal and an assist. Not bad. 4 shots. Okay, good line. Um,
Yeah.
a little extra
The
ice
assist
time
was
because,
really nice,
yeah,
right? Hanging on the boards.
yeah, really nice. All right, so DeBrusk scores, but then Backstrom scores quickly back. Hard shot, good shot, quick release, a Nick Backstrom type goal right there. Then the Bruins get a power play. The Washington Capitals did not like. I'm going to work in reverse here about not liking the officiating. We'll start with that the Nick Dowd penalty late in the game. I mean, they were arguing. They were all bullshit about it. What do we think? Was there a
It's
reason for
the
it?
it's just the timing of these penalties at times where you're in a tie 3-3 game. You've already given the home team one power play on the road. And I know there's no even up and you call a penalty, but there still is a feel that all the players, all the coaches especially have, and especially a guy like Laviolette who's been around for 35 years in the NHL, that I think it's hard for these guys, and because it's hard for me, and it's even harder for a coach, I imagine, to get over the fact that they're calling all these still. And he's from a time where you put the whistle away after you give one home team power play in the third period, no matter what happens with 2 minutes left in the game. And so I think that's where the arguing comes from. It was, a trip's a trip.
Right.
I think there's lots of these throughout the game where the timing of it is more crucial, and that's always going to upset the road team. It always is. A late power play for the home team late in a game, in a tie game, is going to make the team go nuts, no matter if it's a blatant call or not.
Yeah. Well, these guys were inconsistent. Well, they were what were they? Were interesting. I thought these officials in this game, but I did think it was a penalty. Take my Bruins Nesson work out of it. I mean, marginal. No, I thought it was a penalty. I did. Now the problem is. By the way, go back to the first period. Marchand should have had double minor when he got his first penalty, and then he cross-checked. I think it was Jensen right away. Like that should have been a double minor. Should have been called. So
Mhm.
they let one go. They let the other one. They call the other one. I don't know. I mean, once they get on that power play, the Bruins then don't have success until about 40 seconds left or so when Charlie McAvoy gets a laser shot off. To your point, great pass from DeBrusk holding on to along the wall. Hits the guy busting down the seam. And what I loved about McAvoy's shot, he goes to that blocker side just a couple of feet. I mean, it's a hard spot for the goaltender to stop.
Yeah, especially when you're coming from your right, you overplay it just a little bit, and great. How many times we've seen McAvoy still try and make a play there as
Right.
well. The idea, the fact that he had shoot in his head all the way through that neutral zone into the offensive zone was the most enjoyable part of the goal.
Yeah. I loved it. Great shot. Worthy of a game winner. Bruins win 3 to
Yes,
2. Now let's go back.
4-3, but that's all right.
4 to 3. Sorry. That's right. 3 to my bad. COVID. Blame everything
I know.
on
I usually let those ones go, but I know someone will get you for the score of the
somebody
game.
gets me on shit all the time because that's what happens
Yeah,
in broadcasting,
yeah, exactly.
you know.
Perfect.
Um Statistically speaking, some things jump out at me in this game. Bruins overall outshoot Caps 33-17. They do a nice job in the faceoff circle, 55 to 45%. Led is always by Bergeron, but in general, Caps are a pretty good face-off team too. So the Bruins, they keep that up. Um, Bruins had 17 blocks, which was nice, and did a good job there. But the thing that jumped out to me the most, and I think to a lot of people listening slash watching, us or the game. The fact that the Bruins gave up just 2 power play shots to the Washington Capitals in, 4 attempts for the Capitals. 0 for 4 with Kuznetsov, with Backstrom, with Wilson, with Ovechkin. Now, granted, no TJ Oshie. Important piece of the puzzle there. But
And Carlson,
and
right?
Carlson. Yeah, huge, huge.
Because you can really, really, really key on Ovi. Then once
Right?
because Carlson can rip it too, folks. He's
Oh,
got
yeah.
a cannon. With him out, you really focus on Ovi. But despite all that, two shots against any of those guys is impressive, and it was they did a really nice job rotating, moving together. It was good.
They did a good job at their own blue line, too.
Mm.
A real nice job of gapping up there. Their gaps were strong. And maybe you could argue again, that's where a guy like Oshie and Carlson would help, just getting the puck in and then, setting it up, moving it around. But they've given up 7 power play shots in a game to a team that had nowhere near the
Yeah,
power play
that's right.
that the Caps
That's
do.
right.
So
Exactly.
they really focused on them, and they did a beautiful job, shorthanded. And the kind of the usual suspects were out there a ton. 458 for Forbert, 418 for Carlo, 342 for Charlie. So those are your 3 top minutes guys on the PK. Lazar 303, Coyle 222, Tomasz Nosek 313. Boy, I know I say it all the time, but man, he was good. Again, his
Yeah.
role, he's out there at the end too, along with Coyle and Bergeron. And good player, smart player.
Yeah.
Um, so they do a really good job there. Another guy who got some good PK time, Eric Haula. And you were talking before we started recording. Haula with another strong game, Razor. And what did you like most about it?
I like he's filling that responsibility that Boston Bruins centermen need to fill, and we talked about that. Will he be able to handle that?
Yep.
Will he be able to go 200 feet every shift? Because that's what's expected, and I think he has. And obviously, Hall and Pastrnak are going to get a lot of the spotlight, especially since the break and the line changes. Hall is a big part of it. He's kept that pace with those guys. He's been moving. If you look at I know Charlie's a different player, but you look like what it was like with those guys with Charlie Coyle there and now with Hall. I think you do have to give Hall a lot of adulation for that. So I've liked his game. I like his game. I really do. And I get he's not necessarily a second line center, but he's doing a very good job there. And that time, even on the PK, I think just proves where his game's at and his ability to recognize where he needs to be and how he needs to play for this team.
Yeah. And a couple of assists, 16 and a half minutes. A solid line, a solid night.
Yeah.
The kind of night you need
And
from your number
again,
two.
those guys were good against Carolina. They got
Yeah.
smoked 7-1, but those guys weren't out there for a goal. They were actually pretty good the other night as well in the worst game that they'd had since the break.
Yeah. I agree. Vakanainen had a nice game too, coming back and, playing over 20
Good bounce
minutes.
back, right?
Good bounce back
Yeah,
game. Happy for
really.
Uro there.
Me too.
Um,
Because I was worried about that one because that's the one where he's still kind of like Steen, where if he had another clunker tonight, he's probably not in the lineup the next game.
yeah.
And that's when you start to worry. So that's a big bounce back for him on the back end. I like it.
Yeah. It was important. All right, let's touch on Brad. Let's touch on Marchand getting hit. Uh, what was it? Second period. I'm trying to find the time. 6:48. The penalty. Garnet Hathaway. And by the way, let's real quick, just to touch on the Tom Wilson hit on Anton Blidh earlier. I mean, amazingly clean, amazingly
Oh,
impactful, heavy. Those are 2 big men. Wilson is huge. Blidh's a good sized dude, 6'1", 200, whatever it is.
yeah.
And I mean, just got clean, checked. Perfect check,
Yeah.
actually, execution
What
by
you
Wilson.
got? Can't put yourself in that situation out there.
No,
Bunch of big boys flying around really fast.
So
But
Blidh is
perfectly
out.
clean hit. Nothing to complain about.
Nothing.
That's great hockey.
Arms down easily within the time of allowed for a play to be made, a hit to be
Mhm.
followed through, etc. Unfortunately, Anton with the injury, whether it was a whiplash, I think it was more whiplash than anything, just the overall impact when he went down. But then, so you get no call and no argument there. Then let's go to the play that, a lot of people are ticked off about. Garnet Hathaway interferes Brad Marchand, 6:48 of the second period. What got me was that the low official, in this case, it was Kendrick Nicholson. And I've said umpteen times, I'm all in favor of the officials, as brutally hard of job that they have. But, when they deserve praise, they get it. When they don't, they don't. It wasn't like he had his back turned. He watched this whole play happen. He wasn't going to call it if it wasn't for the guy 70 feet away. I think it was Kyle Raymond who called it. I mean, it was clearly a finish. Was it the worst that I've ever seen? No, let's not. But to me, it was undoubtedly a penalty. Unfortunately, Brad looked like his right shoulder, it just made bad contact with the boards. Had it happened for me years and years and years ago, I'm almost the exact same thing. I separated my shoulder. It was like a grade 2. That's my guess. What's your guess? I mean, it looks like a shoulder separation to me. I mean,
Yeah, that
that's
or a broken collarbone. Those are the two things that happen when guys go hard into the boards like that. And and when you can't raise your arm, um,
yeah,
that's the first thing I did. I went right to the schedule. All right, how many games do they have before the All-Star break, before their 7 days? And it's 6. So expect him out 6 games, and
yeah,
the timing of that isn't that bad.
yeah. Exactly. I mean, I thought it was I guess an unnecessary hit. That's what I thought. Is that fair
Yeah,
or is that
yeah,
not
yeah,
fair?
yeah.
Is that
No, that's fair. It's unnecessary. It's too, but it's not suspendable if that's where everyone
right?
wants to go. People try and hit Brad Marchand like that 5 times a game, and most of the time he slithers out of it. Most of the time he just absorbs it into the boards. But that's one of those ones where he gets that extra attention hit from those guys because he's got a target on him.
But I couldn't agree more with Brad. You didn't need to be a lip reader when he came up and he looked at Nicholson, the official, and say, "How the f are you not going to call that?" He said
Yeah.
that to him, and I'm saying the
Yeah.
same thing from my area where I'm watching the game from my room, my living room. Like, how are you not calling that? And then I hear the whistle. I see the guy, the back official call it, and I'm like, thankfully. That to me
Yeah.
was mind-boggling, quite honestly. And again, I don't regularly criticize the officials knowing how hard their job is, but holy smokes. Like, you're looking right at it, Kendrick. Right at it.
Yeah. These guys, they're missing lots.
Yeah. But then they'll get the stick on
Yeah,
the
that's the
pair.
problem. They get the random trip. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. So that's my take was I thought it wasn't necessary. I couldn't agree more that it was a penalty, and I agree. I don't it's not a suspendable offense. You could talk, is it similar to Frederick with Kirill Kaprizov type of
That's where
play
I
that
put it. That's where I put it. That, like, again, Freddie was unnecessary hit. He didn't need to hit him there to separate him from the puck. The puck was kind of there.
Mhm.
Should have been Freddie got the interference penalty. It was the exact same interference call.
Yeah.
Um, that's what that's the if you want to not to prove our biasy that we're not homers, that's the comparison that I'm
Yeah.
using for it.
I'd agree. It sucks, and I'm disappointed if Brad's out for any extended period of time. However, your point is well taken. Um, next game is what, Saturday at home, and then is it 5 more games? You said after that before they've
Yeah,
got a
there's 6
6-day
games.
break.
So yeah, that's right. So you're
Okay.
looking at 3 weeks till that, just under 3 weeks,
Well, you
6
hope it's
games.
just a slight. If anything, I didn't think. I thought shoulder separation right away. If only because I've never done. Have you ever broken your collarbone? I've never broken my collarbone.
No.
So I don't know what that's like, but I have separated my shoulder. I've torn the rotator. I've done a few different things, but to me, it looked like a separation. We'll see. We'll see what it is there. Not fun. And the Bruins need this guy tremendously. They're also without Anton Blidh. So now the question becomes, who do you call up? Now you know that Steen's going to come back into the lineup.
Mhm.
So there's one guy. And, now doing a little bit of investigation, I'm hearing that guy like Stephen Fogarty has played really well down there, but he's listed as a centerman. He's 6'4", a little over 200 pounds, but he's a centerman. Stanika, I'm told, has been better. But, it's kind of slim pickings for wingers. I guess the big question is Trent Frederick. Where is Freddie at? I don't know. And I haven't, being sick this week and it's not being around, I can read, but I haven't even been to practice or anything. So I don't know. No clue.
Yeah, no clue. But whatever it is, it's not filling Brad Marchand skates. So it's certainly going to be a mash kind of setup here for a little while, whether the winger is great and tearing up Providence or not. Whoever it is going to have to fill some minutes. And obviously it's going to fall to that second line, right? The second line
So,
turns into your first line
yeah.
almost.
So let's make our lines then real quick is before we do our Apex most entertaining moment and wrap this morning brew up. And you'll tell me if I missed anything. I'm sure I did. If I did, tell me. I think you might see 74 with 37 and 12 now. I think you might see
Yeah.
that elevation.
Yeah, I agree.
Then you go 71, you go Hall, you keep 56 and 88. I mean, that becomes your top line,
Yep.
basically.
Yep.
Then you're thinking 17, 13, 62. That has to be your third line.
Has to be.
Okay. Then you've got 92, your Swiss Army knife in the middle.
Yeah.
And I guess the question is now, what's up with 11? What's up with Frederick?
Yeah.
I don't think he's ready. I just haven't heard his name at all or anything. Or 2 call-ups. Or do you go 11 and 7? Would the Bruins go 11 and 7?
Connor Clifton there.
Yeah.
He's
Although
played
he's
for
been,
him.
he and Forbert have been pretty good. I mean, like they've made a good pair.
Yeah. 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 But you can move him around. I guess it will. If Brad Marchand's out for 2 months, then they probably have to do something. But
Right.
if it's 6 games, then they I bet they put a Band-Aid on it,
Well,
and
you
whether
got
it's
you got you have
Stanika.
Lazar. I
Yeah.
forgot. You have Lazar on
No,
the
he has
right.
Lazar. Yeah, on the right. So
I
you only need
forgot.
one. You only need to fill left side, fourth line. Like maybe you can jump in and do that for a
No.
couple games.
No. 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 Definitely for many reasons. All right. Well, with Steen coming back, hopefully he'll pop right back in and pop right back up with his good play. You say, okay, yeah, let's. DeBrusk now really gets ultimate showcase central in the sense with
I
Bergeron and
know
Smith. All
he
right, well, let's
does.
see. Maybe they take a guy like Fogarty and they say, hey, man,
Yeah, it's a time of year where you throw guys like that bones, right?
yeah,
If they've put on a good show for 4 months in the minors and done everything they've been asked, you give them a few games, give them
why
a
not? Why not? Give him a
couple
call up.
couple days NHL money. Yeah,
Yeah. And you say to them, hey, look, we know it's not ideal. Maybe they say to Nosek, Thomas, help out down low. You'll take some faces, but maybe Fogarty's in the middle too. Like maybe they have
yeah.
options type thing there. So, and then who knows? Maybe there's somebody else that they're going to call up that I have no idea about. All right, you got an Apex most entertaining moment of the Bruins 4-3, not 3-2, 4-3 win over the Caps.
Well, I love the break. I love the breakaway where you talk about, but you have to go with a game-winning goal with 45 seconds left. I mean, that's the easy one. Sometimes we have to manufacture them. That's as good as it gets for the excitement of the Garden, the people in the Garden. Apex for me is Charlie McAvoy's goal.
Yeah, good one. Real good one right there. And I think that game-winning goal is great. I do love the breakaway as well. I'll tell you the other very entertaining moment I had. Speaking of Charlie McAvoy, was his hit on Trevor Van Riemsdyk soon after the hit on Blidh. Just entertaining and appropriate. Maybe it's the Apex most appropriate response. Although I would like the Bruins. How many times have I said this, Razor? Get a little more size, man. Back end, top, whatever. Just somebody to help out in that regard. But I love the fact that Charlie did that. So I'll call that my most entertaining moment. Go make sure to check out apexentertainment.com. You will be entertained no matter what when you're there. They've got the big place right in Marlboro where the weather is always good. It's always beautiful and sunshiny at Apex in Marlboro. Bumper cars, all types of video games, everything you could ask for there. Go check out apexentertainment.com. All right, bud. Anything else? Bruins. I'm looking to see. They will have practice on. They have to because the afternoon game on Saturday. Are you working Saturday, bud? Or no?
Yep.
You are. Okay.
Nope, I am
You're
not.
not. You're not.
I am
Just
not.
a Barry
No,
special. I'm out.
must be very special.
Yeah, I'm out till Sunday. It's probably when the earliest that I can come back. I will be
Gotcha.
listening or watching on Saturday to see if Barry what he does with names without anybody else there too. Just
I know. I got to check that Winnipeg roster. Be interesting. Him and Dale will have a busy day.
They will, yeah. It's Hellebuck, Barry, not Hellebusick.
Yeah.
Hellebuck right there. Love the guy. All right. Razor, have a good night. That does it for Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Everybody enjoy the Bruins victory. The Bruins continue to climb in the Eastern Conference right now, just 5 points as we sit here after this podcast, 5 points behind the Washington Capitals with 4 games in hand.
Yeah.
The Toronto Maple
They're
Leafs
ahead
right
on
now.
points percentage.
Yeah, they do have them on points percentage. You're right, by .003. The Bruins are just 3 points behind the Toronto Maple Leafs as well right now with the same amount of games. So a lot of fun stuff to keep our eye on. Everybody have a wonderful Friday. Enjoy half of your Saturday before the Bruins take on the Winnipeg Jets. That game, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock pregame on NESN. Yes, the game is back on NESN, where we love having all of them. It'll be Dale and Barry. Razor and I will have the day off. We'll be back with you in, I think, about 4 days for another Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Everybody enjoy it, and especially enjoy that Friday.